Didn't remember to lock my office door. I was like, wait a second, I heard a child noises.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen. I'm hungry.
They're cute. They're pretty good at events, attending them at least. I don't know about planning them. All right.
Mega funny. All right. So it looks like we are live in effect. The countdown is going. We're here. We're hyped. Hope all you guys are having a good time. Got a coffee, got a bevy, doing the damn thing. I'm Dax. We up. Sugar-free, the way to be. See the game. So we're going to be talking a lot about events, how to run events and manage the documents, because we know AI slop is taking over the internet. Everybody's optimizing for bots, dapping up bots. We don't want that. That's why people are looking to go outside, breathe in the prana, and connect with people. So I'm going to cue this up. I think everyone can see. Can you guys see my this webinar thing we're about to go through? We've got Chris, we've got Dan. Let's talk about what we are going to talk about. We're going to meet these beautiful people that we get to spend some time with for the next 45 minutes to an hour, really breaking down where event management itself breaks down, getting real meta there. We're going to talk about Event Hapily, a native HubSpot app for managing events, along with Box Connector, who is connecting an awesome SaaS platform, Box, file storage in the cloud, with HubSpot, and getting the new Event BFF stack. We're going to walk through some cool use cases, actually see how the sausage is made, and then answer any questions that you guys got. We're going to meet the hosts. I'm Dax, co-founder of Hapily, chief care officer. I care too much. I stay up too late. I lose too much sleep. And that's why I'm here to talk to you guys about managing events. Take it to Chris.
Thanks, Dax. I'm Chris Eustace. So I'm the CEO and founder of SparkGrid Software, who has written the official integration for Box and HubSpot. Hand it over to Dan.
Thank you, Dax and Chris. So I'm not as cool. I'm just a little more caffeinated. Dan O'Leary, Senior Director of Partnerships here at Box. And we are the intelligent content cloud that helps you store all of the incredible amounts of content that come along with events. And as you're going to find out today, there's a reason all three of us are working together. It's like a fusion restaurant. It just gets better when we work together. It's awesome.
It's better, man. We're presentation. The kitchen is messy, but the tables are clean. Let's do it. So jumping right into it, right? I believe, Dan, keep me honest, right? The enemy of every single software platform in this plane of existence is a spreadsheet. True or false?
Or a post-it note, or a whiteboard, or like 700 emails. I mean, the problem is it's all of those things. It's like the Cheesecake Factory menu. It's going to be every single one of those places. That's
the novel. It's a novel. Now I mean, if you can't get people out of the spreadsheets, then I believe your product isn't enticing enough, right? It's got to be able to like really solve the pain, because people are painfully tic-tacking in spreadsheets and passing them around in V1, final, don't use, deprecated, soon to be deprecated, .cvs, .walgreens. So you want to really like manage that. And that's what's happening right now. And getting the assets. I mean, we're at the time of this filming, we're getting ready to go to inbound. And I don't know where all my assets are at, but that's why we need to change our system, our processes, and get everything going into a single place. Wish I had a kitten around, but they're hard to herd. That's why they're not here. And just the event docs, right? Who's coming, who's going, who's going to fly. Let me see your invoices. Chris, don't be expensing crazy dinners like you're usually doing. Where is all that stuff going? It's all emails. It's all this last minute, way too late after the fact activity. And what we're going to be walking through is seeing this all in one place in a beautiful stack of HubSpot, because after the event, let alone during the event, like Dan, I know you have your receipts in your pocket. You instantly wash those pants. It is now a ball of hard Play-Doh in your pocket. Unless they're not using the company card, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And what we want to really wrangle this is that HubSpot has built a great platform to do just that and be a platform. Handle all of that data, handle all of that communication, handle all of the post-event things in one place. So that's where we're going to solve this challenge. One of the pieces in this puzzle, in this confusion kitchen, is Event Hapily. Event Hapily is native event management for HubSpot. We're talking about the management and the setup. So all the pre-work, which is really what we're going to focus on today. All of that like pre-work and bringing all the kittens together to actually do something special. We handle registration and check-in, so leveraging QR codes, just like a ticket. So when you you register for an event, get an email, get your ticket, you can get that scanned by any device at the door, and they get marked as registered inside of HubSpot to kick off your post-event communications or anything like that, right? Everything personalized, dynamic, leveraging HubSpot for its awesome workflows and email sending, getting leads when you're attending trade shows. So we're talking not only just hosting events, but when you're going to events, when your motion is literally going out and you're tired of getting this fishbowl, right? People still got the fishbowl of business cards, like so. All of these are not getting put where they need to be. Your follow-up automation, your attribution reporting, is everybody going on vacation? Are you actually closing deals because of attending or hosting this event? That's what Event Hapily does. And I might say it does it well. Box. Drop the drop. Get the box.
Thanks, Dax. Well, luckily we know a lot of you we saw who registered. So thank you for being our customers. Obviously, thank you for being our partners. We are the content cloud, the intelligent content cloud that powers really all the stuff that comes along with an event. And as someone who sponsors events, attends events, speaks at events, it is crazy how much content goes into it, whether it's the PowerPoint like you're seeing today, the registration list, the booth documents and guidelines, the trading information, the security briefing. When you do events like in San Francisco, there are the preferred hotels, all of the lead data, the conversations that are captured. That's just scratching the surface. All that information now, rather than being in 100 different places, is now going to live natively in Box, connect beautifully and perfectly into HubSpot, and with Hapily make it work perfectly for your event management. And what you're going to be seeing today is the great work that Chris and his team have done to make this as seamless as possible. So for our event planners, managers, organizers, sponsors, funders, this is now a totally integrated experience where something that is and was very painful, this is like one of the best use cases for Box. It's a primary way I use this product and application and have for a long time.
We've got something else that connects together. The peanut butter to my jelly, the Box Connector.
So, as I mentioned before, I'm Chris. So what we did was build the integration between Box and HubSpot, built it natively using all the new latest technology from HubSpot, have tons of experience building other integrations and applications with the Box API. So we were able to extend that, go into really expose all sorts of automations and workflow stuff that we really can make your life seamless and easy. And I know Dax is going to highlight a lot of that stuff, but excited to show you guys today. Thanks, Dax.
And I may say, and I guess I am saying and will say, have said, that the Box Connector is one of my favorite HubSpot integrations because of how deep it is and how thoughtful the implementation was. And what we're going to show is the massive amount of workflow actions that allow you to just do what you need to do. So much to the fact where I was building out this demo and I got a feature flown out, private jet right into my instance. So the iteration is there. It's everything that you would possibly want to do to manage these files. And it's just crazy to see and, bring a tear to the eye. That's like, this was done with HubSpot in mind. The folks that built this, Chris and team, use HubSpot. They know where things need to be. And, Dan, you should be mega hyped because most integrations in HubSpot, from my point of view, kind of just, they miss, right? They update a couple fields in the contact and call it a day. This is a true in the workflow where you need it to be, like solving for the challenges and connecting all the dots. I wish I could cover it all in this time. We'd be here all day doing a build live and learn live scenario, but we're going to be focused really on kind of what this streamlined process looks like. So there's not going to be hacks. There's not going to be handoffs. It's just everyone inside of HubSpot. And again, thanks to Box, people that are not in your HubSpot now operating and bringing those files, that data, that content, those invoices, those like waivers, all those things are going to be accessible in one place. And you're not going, trying to be smart with your email, searching with quotes, trying to find where that one file is and going through a thread of emails. It's just not useful. So we want to keep everything up top. We want to manage everything balanced and make it so that this is just an afterthought is management, diet management. I would say it's just going to be easy to work with. So let's just jump into a demo. Like rule number one of demos, don't do live demos. We're doing live demos right now.
Way to do it.
Do live.
Let's just do it live. Can you guys see my HubSpot?
Yes.
All right. My HubSpot is here. We're going to go live. It's going to be gone live a couple times. Greatest live. It's going to be live. Let's create an event. So with Event Hapily, you are going to get 3 installed custom objects. Your events, which is just your event, your registrants, which is the instance of a contact attending an event, and sessions. So if you have like your breakouts, or maybe you're going to a conference and you've got a happy hour and a dinner and you got your booth and then you got your outside booth, all of those can be broken out within that event. So we also optionally, if you like, can get speakers and sponsors. And we're going to be messing around with some speakers and some sponsors today, because this is where a lot of the pain is when you're dealing with onboarding and did I get their headshot? Did they sign the waiver? Dan, I can't let you in if you don't sign this waiver.
That's real, guys. Last year at BoxWorks, I was waiting in the parking lot for one of our speakers who's a personal friend. They're like, he can't get on stage unless he signs this. And I'm like, where is Hapily? I need this, please. I shouldn't be the bouncer.
Right, the bouncer. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things. I mean, even breaking down your all of the stuff that you sent to the event and those invoices, those expenses, those are all things that don't need to live in an Excel spreadsheet or a Post-it note or in someone's pocket or written on the back of a broken envelope. I'm not the only one that does this. You got to tell me, like, using the envelope as a scratch paper. Can't do it. So let's break this off. Let's have this event. This event's going to be on August, Play-to-Palooza 2025. We're going to have this at 9 a.m. It's going to end at whatever, 5:30. We're going to have this at Max's house. Shout out to Max in the audience right now. He lives at 123 Paintball Drive.
This is like how Fall Out Boy has been doing their summer backyard concerts at Max's house. This is good.
Yeah, this is summer. It's a summer backyard special. It's the equivalent of the NPR, tiny desk, but it's Max's backyard. We're doing this in Mass. So that's not Mass. We're gonna do it there. So all right. So now that I've created this event, let's not do what all these demos and webinars do, where they're just like, yeah, poof, magic, it worked, right? Let's go and look at the workflows and dive in and see how it's all made. So forgive this light, but we've got a few things that you could do because Event Hapily is inside of HubSpot. It's native. You're able to leverage everything under the sun. You can make your overview screen as crazy as you like. I've just got some basics here, right? I got a countdown to the event because it's in a couple days. So I've got a little bar there. I've got a few registration page assets because one of the cool things leveraging Event Hapily with HubSpot is the automatic pages that can be created. So I'm just going to grab a few things on a notepad somewhere just for this demo, since we decided, you know what, everybody deserves to go live. So we're going to grab this information. Oh, actually, shout out to Windows and the clipboard history. So I can just really I have everything kind of pasted around. I've got my featured image. You guys can see that. I've got my event page content. Bam. I've got and guess what? Well, look at this. My registration page has already been generated leveraging Content Hub. So I should be able to go to this page, and let me just bust this cache and then I'll share that screen and share this tab without having to do anything. I automatically have a landing page ready to register and do all of the things that we need to do once we add our form and all of that. So Max's house, Paintball Drive, we've got all this data ready. It's already ready to go. So you have something special right when you created your event. There's some other stuff that happened when I created this event as well. We see below, this is down. We see now that I've gotten, if I refresh this page, my box connector has now created a new folder automatically for my event Play-to-Palooza 2025 with booth assets, speaker, and sponsor folders. This is ridiculous because now I have my this event record is the mother brain. It's where everyone's going to work out of. Everything is there. There's tons more you can do, but we'll keep it focused. So I want to take a quick pause. Chris, talk a little bit about this UI extension and what's possible here, what you guys have built to enable this workflow inside of HubSpot.
Sure thing. So yeah, we leveraged obviously the new UI extensions to build this out. And our number one thing was trying to automate any sort of redundant tasks and really exposing that to admins and people that kind of are living in HubSpot every single day. So we tried to expose as many functions as possible from the Box API to HubSpot. I think we're at about 34 functions from the Box API. We do plan on adding more, but the majority of the big ones are already in there. Excited to add more, but essentially, Dax, you can go through and maybe show some of the other features of, sharing and creating file requests and all these other great things that are all kind of just baked into the product.
Yeah, it gets real serious when you're able to look at these booth assets, right? So just off top, we're looking at a pinned folder. So when I first loaded this record page, it would have every single folder, but you don't want to, again, dive deeper. So there is the ability to pin folders and make it so that this event, I'm looking at that event's folder. I create booth assets, speakers, and sponsors folders. So I'll walk and show a little bit of that. So I can see all the things that you could do: file requests, sharing folders, manage collaborators, rename, all this stuff right inside. And obviously you can pop it open into Box if you so please. But what's really cool about this is that each of these folders has actions on it. And if I'm looking at my booth assets, like I want to immediately try to add some files. So I'm just going to upload a few files. I can drag and drop them in. I've got a few things I want to add. I'm going to add like a little presentation here. So I'll drag that in, upload that. 2024 inbound, let's go. Done, right? So now I can see I have this PowerPoint there. I want to actually add the sponsor doc because I have something special that I made for this particular sponsor doc. So let me upload that file as well. And again, it's just seamless. I'm in HubSpot. I'm working in the event record for this event that I'm throwing. It's a thing. So now
Dax, why don't you make sure that file is the right one so you can preview? I don't know how many different file types we can do here, Dan. You might know better than me, but simply just by clicking that, we use the Box file previewer so we can preview really all different types, Excel, not just PDFs, right? Dan, if you want to.
That's right. More than 100 file types. And this is what's key is that's going to be your Adobe Illustrator files. It's going to be your proprietary, like a CAD drawing if you're doing like, a multi-story booth for your biggest event. Or you're working with external sponsors that have not just random file types, but big file sizes. Like you need to upload the 8K video to be shown during a keynote. All of that content is going to live in context within the event. And that's what's awesome is you don't have to go context switch from Slack or Teams or Box or Drive or 27 other places. It's going to be right where you expect it to be. And now you get not only more value out of the event, more value out of Box, but also a lot more value out of your investment in HubSpot thanks to Hapily.
Like it's really crazy to be able to see all of this file management right here. And while I don't need to be anywhere else. So let's look and see how we made this easy thing happen. And this is kind of jump into the HubSpot workflows and the actions that they've created that are just bananas. So I'm going to share this tab. Let's look and break down this workflow that we set up so that whenever we create an event, all the magic happens. So first and foremost, when your Hapily event is created, before I even, you know what, I just gotta shout you guys out because just if you know HubSpot apps, right? You don't see this many workflow actions. You don't. This is a parchment of things that you can do. Force apply Box meta cascade policy, add a Box file shared link, which we're going to be using later. Pinning the Box folder, all this stuff. This is like the Legos that you want. Usually when you don't have any workflow actions, you just have, hey, we're going to update a contact with something. This is just a round of applause, for Max, if you were in this, that soundboard would be hidden right now. So to be able to do that is just awesome. So let's break down this workflow. So first and foremost, when I create my event, I'm creating a Box folder. So I'm grabbing the event, I'm making it say event, and then the event name, because I'm pulling that directly from the event object. So that's why it says event, Palooza 2025. Adding in that parent folder ID. So this is my account has like an events folder. So grabbing that ID, which again, easy to do. Let's just jump right back in to the thing. When I go to all events, they thought about it, right? I've got my event and I can grab that folder and I get that, I can get that ID, and that's where I got that from. So and I can go right back to the pin folder. Come on, like I didn't have to think. My brain just went to where it was supposed to be, and it was there. So it's really cool when you have, such thoughtful like processes to grab things like IDs. So I've made it so that, it's open access because, again, other people are going to be adding files. We got Nikki in marketing. She's not in my HubSpot. She's in a different state, different world, but is using the same box folder and adding those assets so I can see them as they're added. So super awesome there.
If I could just add to Dax, and this is where I really appreciate the work that Chris has done to integrate this, because internally you're going to be using HubSpot, Box, Hapily, but a lot of agencies, a lot of the large freight and logistics companies, the folks that you're working with putting on events, they also use Box, and so do the companies that are putting on these events too. So you get this real benefit from the network effect and the depth of integration here that you're not going to get if you just store the stuff natively in HubSpot. I think that's where there's a huge advantage. It's like super well integrated into the process and into how people are already working today. You're not doing crazy stuff, it's just coming right where you want it to be.
Yeah, it's done. I mean, as I was building this out, I was like, it's everything where I would want it to be and need to be. So it's like works perfectly. And now that we've created our Box folder with that first workflow action, then I pin that folder. And again, when you know HubSpot, you know that you can kick out some metadata after an action has been done. And that's exactly what I'm able to do because I can pull from an action output and get the ID of something that happened beforehand. So that's real RevOps, real nerdy, but like that's what you need. You need to be able to grab event IDs because what I did was I took the folder that was created here, grab that ID so that I can then pin it on this event. I've also created folders underneath that folder we created earlier of my booth assets, my speakers, and my sponsors. I've also done some cool stuff where I've written the speaker folder ID to the Box speaker folder ID to that folder ID from the speakers because I'm going to reference that speaker folder from another angle. And then I have some other like little event stuff we have. So jumping back into the record, that's how this was all made. Now, let's talk about speakers and sponsors. I'm going to run through kind of a speaker use case here, but this works exact same thing for sponsors where I need to manage my speakers. I need to manage files with people that are either going to be there, going to be working on the registration, maybe even the people working the front, right? The actual events company that I'll be managing the hardware components or the check-in because they just, they hire crews so that they can work front doors and things like that. This is super important to be able to manage. So I'm going to use a workflow, or I don't know what you guys do, Chris, but I always say I want to use a workflow in the meaning of like the way I'm going to work and not a HubSpot workflow. Starts to get like, you're like, I'm going to use workflow, but like not a workflow, but a workflow. So I'm going to use a flow of work of how I'm going to create speakers. Because with Event Hapily, we have a cool ways of managing speakers, but I'm just going to add one. So I'm just going to go to Dax Miller, that's me, and I work at Hapily, and I am a founder. So now that I've created this speaker in this way, some people like to use forms where there's like speaker requests for a different thing to create that speaker and associate it to the event. But I'm just going to create this speaker and kind of throw it back over here. So now when I see like I have a speaker associated to Palooza. With Palooza, I'm going to be able to see also, if I preview this, I have my Hapily speaker pipeline stage. So this is important when you're managing like where speakers are at, because let's say, for example, I have a speaker fill out a form that's going to put them in my like interested stage automatically. And then as I go through and see, I don't want them speaking, I want them speaking, I definitely want them there. They're going to talk about AI. I don't need that. I got like 900 AI speakers. So we're going to preview and say, well, looks like Dax is going to need to be sent a waiver or do something. And now what we've done is started a magical background task, which I'm going to talk through, involving file requests with Box. So file requests and Box sign are two different kind of scenarios, but are really, really important during this process. So sharing the workflow that I've done a simple file request to ask for their headshot. Now that I'm interested, I can send them, hey, I need your headshot. Hey, I need this. I need you to fill out this form. tons of options that you could do with Box, but leveraging this is a simple way that I've done this. So I've done a workflow that triggers when the speaker is in the waiver sent. So it's not really a waiver, but doing a headshot. I'm going to create a Box file request. When I look at this template, I've built this template within Box. So I already have a request that I want to do, and I'm waiting to send that. I'm grabbing the Box speaker folder ID, which I mentioned earlier. I'm grabbing that from the associated event because I know that I'm going to need to grab that particular folder ID for that particular event and start throwing stuff in it. I've got a little title that you can add, again, leveraging stuff. This is just awesome when you're thinking of like how I can just leverage the data in the CRM to personalize and everything be dynamic. So I'm saying, hey, I need your headshot for this event landing page. I could add more information, but that's the magic. And then I send an internal email notification. You could obviously send an email out, but I just got something sent to me. And again, I'm harping on this a lot because I've seen this not work very well, but I'm leveraging the file request link, which is an action output from the create Box file request. So I get that request link that I could dynamically place in the email, in the alert, in the Slack message. Anywhere your team is at, HubSpot's allowing you to send those alerts and those automations to wherever you're working. But me, the event manager, and the event management team are all in one place. We're all in HubSpot. So looking at that, I've got my email. Let's see. We are going to my email. I think I just got this alert. And I'm going to show this. So what I got was a link in my email that's again, imagine you're shooting that out to the speaker. That's like, we need your headshot. Like, look at how easy this is. So now I'm going to drag in a headshot and save that. And now it's submitted. Dan, I'm going to give you 2 guesses of where this is going to show up.
Oh, it's going to be in the backyard palooza or right behind you in that beautiful SNES. No, I think it's going to go in the Box folder inside that event, Dax, right there. Look at the classic.
Not there.
No, it's not there. That would be amazing, guys. If we had done that, you're like, here it is.
Oh, you're like, headshot. Like, come on. Now we're cooking with gas. That's
right,
what
let's see where it really ended up.
So where it really ended up is in my speakers folder. So I have that concept of what we just did is I could send out 1, 2, a trillion requests for files for people that are working on this event. And then magically they just show up inside the event record for HubSpot. There I am. So, right. So
if you're doing one speaker at a time, I was at an event where someone wanted to hire, this is not a joke, a full choir. And you're like, that's not it's a singer request form. You're like, that's like 75 people. Imagine if you were doing that one by one, right? It's not like a keynote speaker, oh, Mr. Miller, please sign here. You're like, that's a lot of people. And not all of them are going to know how to use computers. So you gotta be able to do that for them. So this is like, this solves so many of my pains. Every time I see this, I'm like, yes, my prayers have been answered. This is amazing.
The other thing I will add here for uploading those files and everything kind of has all, and Dan can kind of speak to specifics, but all of the Box security and certifications that they have. So it's not just sending headshots, any sort of documents. If you're concerned about sending, government files or PII, that's all going to be protected because that's all, in the Box cloud. Dan, if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing is it's not just, so this content becomes, not just convenient, but also secure. So PII, PHI, if you have a keynote speaker that has a security detail, you have a head of state, these things happen. You need to be able to manage a level of content that you can trust. That's why, 117,000 organizations all over the world trust Box with their most secure content. And then we'll talk about how we're adding AI and intelligence on top of this as well. But it's not just storing it. It's actually being able to use this information in the orchestration of your campaigns and follow-ups. And that's where stuff starts to really cook. Thanks to Chris and his team.
Yeah, the fact that, again, I sent out everything under the sun. I need this from this person. I need this from this person. I know one thing that I would love to add is, once we get alerts or any type of scenario, but this is like someone's job is to make sure, like, let me see, did I get everyone's stuff? Did I submit this form? Here's how to follow up or like setting a task after the thing is set up. So like follow up with Dax for whatever, right? Again, we're working inside of HubSpot. I was not in HubSpot. I sent this screenshot, or I sent my headshot, I'm in. Let's talk a little bit about box signs. So I don't have this set up in here, but I was saying, Dan, if you could set up your box or talk about box sign and how that works, that would be awesome, because that's going to be a big part of what we do next.
Yeah. So friends, don't let friends buy e-signature, friends. Please don't. So as part of your Box subscription, just like how Seinfeld is on Netflix, you get Box Sign totally included. You can sign documents. You can process contracts, your speaker release form, your sponsor forms, all the things that you need signed. Well, guess what? That can now all happen within HubSpot, within the same connected world, just by spawning Box Sign. We'll show you here in a second. This, you don't have to pay for signature. You don't have to pay for envelope. This is included as part of your Box subscription. Just try it. It's great. It's quite good.
And we could dynamically merge data from your HubSpot record, whatever record you're on, into that document. So you'd have a Box template, and we could take data about this event or about the individual, dynamically merge it in, and then have a breadcrumb trail of anytime they're viewing that. So we have all the activity records of the timeline events of the sign event being viewed, sent, completed, whatever, and then kick off additional workflows from there.
I'm really interested in understanding like what went into the Box jumping into the signing game, and kind of how you guys thought of and talked about wanting to be a part of the core product. Like, what was the mindset when you talked about that, and how kind of content goes together with that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It actually came about because it was highly requested by our customers. And I think you could see why. All of the processes we've been talking about today, one of the most critical steps in the workflow is that approval. And it's the merging, as Chris mentioned, taking the data that exists from that speaker registration form, from their event registration form, and not having to repopulate it and have someone sit and, draw cute little boxes. We don't want you to do that. It just made a lot of sense logically as an approval step in a workflow, and a really nice integrated experience that built on our security, compliance, intelligence functionality. And I think one of the reasons we wanted to bundle it is that, like we've all, I don't know, when I had to spend like $10 to sign a document and I like sent it to the wrong person, I still had to pay. Like, I'll never forget this. It was like, this is not a great consumer experience to be on the other side of being an e-sign buyer. And it just made too much sense for us to include as part of your Box bundle.
See, so let's talk about that in action, right? So when you have as a part of all the things that you need to send, you need to get headshots, you need to get your layouts, you need to make sure that people sign their waivers, their release forms, maybe even pay for stuff. All of that can be used and then triggered from the contact or from a timeline event to do further action. We're going to walk through that action one at a time and kind of show the output of what matters. And coming into that speaker, if you guys can still see, we have my headshot URL, which I just pulled from Box, right? I took that speaker headshot, just right-clicked, grab that public URL, and put it in the headshot URL. I'm gonna say that this speaker is now published and move them into published. I could do either way. I can set this to be automated, but for what my little demo does is, now that I've got that published, let me hit refresh on this other page. And boom. If you guys can see, now I'm on the website. So I've received all of the documents. I've received everything that I've needed to publish this speaker, whether it be their headshots, their bios, their official title, sign this waiver, sign this document, pay this speaking fee, or receive your speaking fee. I now am dynamically on the website. So again, as the event manager, I'm not going and talking to people and being like, hey, I got this headshot. Can you add it to the website? Yeah, create a ticket for that. All of that jazz of just management of events, not only from the behind the scenes, but from the front facing website, can all be automated from HubSpot. So this is that document. Obviously, this is pulling from the associated speaker here. Same thing works with sponsors. Same thing works with anything, or companies, or anything you want to display on the website. You get to see that live and built in. There's a ton of stuff that you can do. I also want to, that's a big one. I know, Dan, you've probably seen people like, I signed up. I'm supposed to be speaking. Why am I not on the website yet? Oh, it's going to be.
Or my buddy's speaking. I can't make it today. My cat had a hairball and I'm sending this other person instead. I mean, what's incredible, Dax, is like what you just showed. I mean, I'm like counting the number of JIRAs that I would have had to submit for each piece. And it's not measured in seconds. It's not measured in minutes. It's not measured in hours. Like, this is days worth of tedious work where you're wondering what's going on that you now complete instantly. Amazing.
Yeah, we love the fact that everything, when you have things natively built for HubSpot and when you have things natively built correctly, there's less and less work to be done. You set up your workflows and you've got anything set up there. So I think it's just awesome the way that you're able to win without having to do much. And we've seen this, being really just leveraged by companies because they have to do so much. They have teams of people to set up events, the who, the what, the where, the how much, the when, update the website. We're sold out. Guess what? With Event Hapily, we have registration limits. If you see right here, if I set up a registration limit, I can sell out and automatically do that and not have somebody waiting and it's midnight, sold out. Like that is I've seen that and been a part of that rigmarole of really trying to make just registration and that whole piece. It's covered. Session, multi-session, bringing groups, bringing additional people. You might even have to have people that sign up, sign waivers. That's a box sign integration, right? That's where on the contact, when they register, now you need to send a file, wait for their signature, and then they're officially registered. Then they can get their ticket. So just like doing the scooter tour downtown, you got to sign the waiver before they let you in. You forget that waiver, you're waiting outside and watching everybody go by looking cool on scooters. So that's a big one. Chris, if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of jump into your house real quick and show people the box sign integration.
Sure.
This is looking at this screen. So I'm sharing this tab, behind the scenes, box connector, talking about box sign, because again, I think this is really important to understand this. So when I create a new one, look at this. One thing that a lot of integrations miss is custom objects. Just flat out, they're like, I didn't even know that was a thing because they're not in the circle. They're not bleeding orange. They're not really trying to be that. So big ups to Box to an understanding working with Chris that this is the right person for the job. I can create a quick fill template for my contacts, my companies, deals, tickets, and my custom objects, right? So I can have a quick fill for the event and create a template, and I can pull everything from my box sign because I don't have one built yet, but I would build a box sign template and I can pull those properties from the event. So the event, it starts on this day, it's on this time. I can have, here's all the people involved. It's going to be these sponsors, these speakers. Like, this is ridiculous to be able to build out a template based upon custom object properties and automatically send it to one or many people or everyone that registers. This, you're not supposed to be able to do this. Somehow
the other nice thing we do here too. So you set up the template in Box, and essentially what you do is you drag and drop fields that need to be submitted or signed, and you set a variable name for each of those items. Now, the nice thing is these Box template inputs, which aren't rendering here because you don't have any templates set up, they can be shared across multiple templates. So if you map first name, which is going to be commonly used across, maybe 30 different templates, you only have to map it one time. You don't have to go in and do it for every single one that's in there. You do it one time. It's mapped. First name is now mapped. As long as you name the variable the same name, it's going to work across all your templates. And
this is the kind of sign up request, the build out. So I'm able to drag my document in and then start to add in all the different ideas. But then I have my placeholder. That's what Chris is referring to. Now I can have my variables that are pulling into this document that legal spent 9 years building. And now I have it and I can make it dynamic for any event that I have built in. This creation of this template would then get sucked into this tab and being able to have my template inputs, and you're off to the races. I then can use a workflow action, or I can, again, I'm tab jumping now, but now I can go into Box Sign on the event and start sending off stuff for signature and then reacting based upon that. Oh, now that this person didn't sign this, let me just make sure that I need to put them in a waiting or a denied or whatever. All of that is, again, just native HubSpot combined with doing things correctly outside of the system. And then the last thing I'll harp on is you don't have to be a HubSpot user. A lot of people that build apps for HubSpot neglect the fact that there are other people in the world. Other teams, there's other departments, they don't use HubSpot. When we built our check-in module, so if I register for an event, You can check people in. It's an actual CMS module that we've used so that you pick the event and you can just be like, check in, check in, check in. You don't need to be a HubSpot user to access that. What we leverage is an event PIN number so that if your cousin is the one working the door, just tell them, hey, here's your URL, here's the PIN number, because that's going to then cookie their device, whatever device they have. Even if they got a BlackBerry, it'll still work. Scan your QR code, and they are now a non-HubSpot user interacting with HubSpot. I'm going to say that one more time. They're a non-HubSpot user interacting with HubSpot. That's a big deal when you building out native apps and things like that, because you want to serve the people that are in HubSpot, but you want to enable and empower the people that aren't in HubSpot to get the data where it needs to be. So when you're sending off requests and your logistics team, like you said, are uploading documents and transcripts and carriers, they're going to be visible inside of Box. When they're sending out those Box signatures, if they're related to the template that you've created, all those signed documents are going to be here. So at the end of the event, you have an all-encompassed file, and this goes on for every event and every event. So come back, you can look and see, oh, did they do this last time? Do I have this file from last time? Where are the events from last year? Or where are the assets? Where's the booth layout? Where's the floor layout? I want to look at it. Go into the event object. It's there right in the middle. So it's super awesome to understand and empower signs. So
this is the biggest one, Dax. This is if I had $1 for every time a partner had been like, hey, I sent you that logo for that event 2 years ago. You still have it, right? That was the only SVG logo I could find. You're like, oh, be right back. Let me see you in an hour. Even though we all use Box, I'm like, let me go track that down somewhere.
Yeah, the other nice thing is too, the files are held in Box, right? So you do not need to be a HubSpot user in order to access these files. So if you need an individual or team of people that are actually going to set up the booth, like the actual hardware of the booth, sharing out those pictures is simple. It's not like they need access to HubSpot to do so. Box, you can publicly share out those files with them without having to necessarily email it to them. You could build an automation to send it to the installation team, right?
Correct. So it's really awesome the way that this is, again, just lives right here. It looks like HubSpot, feels like HubSpot. I'm in HubSpot for all I know. So we're really, really bullish on what you can do with not only the management, the post management, managing expenses, managing invoices, all that stuff is just done very well inside of HubSpot, where you're combining, I don't have to go anywhere. I've done all these things and I haven't left HubSpot. It's really cool. So let me stop sharing.
You got a great question coming in from Sam. That's going to be a toss up for you, Chris, because he says, when documents are uploaded to Box, how do you edit them? Right? Yes, maybe I got a spelling error in the company name. This happens all the time. How do we edit them? How do we edit it if it's in a Google Doc? What if it's a Word document? What if it's something else? Sam, did someone put you up to this question? It's a good one, but it's a
No, shout out to Sam. What's up, Sam? I'm glad to see you. So the biggest thing is if you're able to edit these docs, then that's the win. You at least have to either make an edit of them, but regardless of what happens after that doc, if they give you a Word document, then of course you're going to be edited. If they give you a PDF, you're going to be smitten to what you have. But at minimum, from my experience, that preview is huge, because I want to you submitted it, but did you though? Is it the correct way? So
let me add on that. So there is a utility called Box Edit that you could choose your preferred editor, whether it be Google, Microsoft, whether cloud or on your desktop. You can say open in Word from the Box file. It will then open it on your native desktop. You make your edit, you hit save, it saves back to Box, stores history of the change that was made. So you have a historical, whatever was changed. You can go back in time if you need to, and just live editing it. So you don't have to download it, save it, re-upload it. You just use the Box Edit functionality that's baked into the product.
That's major.
And I added this in the chat, but it also works with the iWork files. And my gosh, I feel like there's a rule where if you're presenting on a Keynote and you're using a screen that's roughly suited for IMAX, you have to use Keynote. And that is just one of the most unfun file types to work with. And Box handles it super well. So if you have, a IMAX size Keynote with embedded videos that's 400 gigs, you can now store that in the event record within HubSpot, thanks to us. So there you go.
I think that's probably one of the biggest files that get tossed back and forth is presentations. It's is this crazy? Is it PC? All the things that you need to get approved back. And that's, again, leveraging your speaker pipeline inside of HubSpot. breaking that out granularly is probably what's best for most companies, where it's like, I got a speaker, they have their headshot, check. They have their waiver, check. Now I'm waiting, it's going to sit in the stage waiting for their presentation because they have to build it out. They have to do that. Once you get that, under review. And once it's, again, published, then you can publish another thing. You could send more signatures, finalize it, and just start all this stuff based on HubSpot workflow. So I think it's awesome.
So I actually want to expand a little bit on Sam's question here. So in terms of security, so all of your Box security settings that are set up in Box are automatically inherited. So every individual needs to auth in one time. So if Sam does not have access to a specific file, to a specific folder, or only has view access, that's all set through your Box permissions, which you can set up even through workflow to synchronize those with your HubSpot permissions. So you can actually change what can be seen and not seen. If I'm an individual that can drill in, but maybe I'm not allowed to see the legal documents about that event, that's not a problem, because if Box doesn't share them, same thing with functionality. You saw that we had a delete file available there. Well, if the person doesn't have delete file in Box, it's not going to trickle all the way through to the HubSpot UI.
Massive.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I'm going to pause because I talked way too much. I think if we have any other questions for the folks that are joining us and managing these events, managing these folders, I'm smitten now. Like,
Dax, we didn't talk about this. So like the other reason, other than us just like hanging out together, guys, the reason we really like this well integrated is that it actually helps generate a really good ROI on events. And I know this because we run and host a bunch of events ourselves, but I write big checks to sponsor events, and I'm on the hook to improve the ROI as the business leader. And it's really hard to see what assets, what speakers, what sessions, what things actually contributed. Did you actually do the follow-up 1 month, 3 months, 6 months down the line? Have you, as you're getting ready for the next inbound, or you're reaching out to the people who visited last year? I think that's where having all this data, having it in one place and well orchestrated is so valuable. Sure, it's easier. It's way faster. It's way more streamlined, but this is going to allow you to have a much bigger business impact because of all those things. And I'd expect that your ROI on your events that you run this way is going to be substantially higher, because you now have time to do all the little things that really matter, like following up and taking care of your sponsors and making sure they're having a great experience and all that. So if you take one thing away from this, it's not that it's cool. It's really well integrated, but this is going to make you a lot of money, and it's going to allow you to run very successful events that delight the people that attend and make you look great. So that's why we're doing this.
Let's talk. I mean, we got QA, but let's talk about retro attribution, because it's one of the things, like you said. What am I doing this for? What are we doing this for? We want resources that we can make ourselves happy, aka food, aka shelter, aka trips to Iceland. We want to do all those things. Very simple workflow action. Whenever a deal is created inside of HubSpot, you can make it so that when the number of associated contacts is known, aka when the number of associated contacts to a deal gets updated, we have something very special, which is called attribute deal to event. What this does is it says, hey, I want to first look at the most, do I want to associate a deal to this event based upon the first event that the person went to, the most recent event, or all events? So you're automatically going to get deals attributed to your event record that people went to, whether they are registered for it and you want to attribute, whether they attended, or maybe they're an event lead, like someone you met at a trade show or a gathering or a happy hour. You also get to limit the number of attribution days that event. So if I just want to look for the last year, the last 2 months, if I'm doing a bunch of events, and you can automatically associate those deals to the event. And what that allows for is to roll up the pipeline generated, roll up the closed won deals, put those on the event record along with everything else. And now you know that not only do I spend less because I don't need a full team or teams to manage all of these things because they're all being managed inside of HubSpot, I'm actually getting more out of it. So my net revenue is going to be higher. And that's all I'll say about that, because it's a whole thing. People love that functionality specifically from Event Hapily. And now again, you're being more efficient because everything is in one place. You're being more timely because everything is in one place. And you have the tools to actually see, was this worth it? Should I do more of these or should I do more of those? Everything kind of runs in together. So I'll pause again and see if we have any other questions from the back. What types of files can be uploaded or linked through the Box connector? Any size or format limitations to keep in mind? I think we might have touched on that one. Chris, you want to jump on that?
So I believe this file size limit depends on it's 50 gigabytes is the high end. Is that correct, Dan?
500, Chris. Add a zero to that, man.
Times 10.
That's a big file. At that point, guys, your hard disk can be asking for a break at that point. If you're ready, if you have many files that large, I'd love to chat about what you're working on.
You're uploading the internet, like from inception to 95.
You're doing a keynote with embedded 8K video on stage at a major conference.
Very true.
You know how this one goes.
Oh, yeah. Why would you do that? Could you just bring it down to 4K, maybe? Just a touch. It'll be okay. The screen is big enough.
In terms of what files, is there any I think you can upload any file, but Dan, you'd probably know better than I would.
Anything with a file extension, but typically for events, guys, we're going to see for videos, we're going to see MP4, AVI. For design, we're going to have AI, EPS, SVG, TIFF, PSD, PNG, .doc, XLS, CSV for documents, PDF. So I got them all. We got every file.
That's what you started singing, man. So
yeah, funny. I should turn that into a rhyme. But if you can store it on a computer, you can store it in a box, and over 100 file types can be previewed, which makes it super convenient.
So next question, we got, can teams automatically generate box folders for each new event in HubSpot, naming conventions and folder templates? Absolutely. Because you're leveraging all of the dynamic variables that HubSpot workflows allow you to use, you're able to build out that create box folder workflow action whenever the create record kind of runs. So you can not only do that for contacts, you can do it for the event, you can do it for the sponsor. And we did it in our demo. We did it for both the event and also for the speaker. So when a new speaker gets created, we're adding specific files for speakers underneath the speaker folder that was generated automatically. So you get a lot of functionality to automatically build pretty much anything that you'd like automatically based upon any trigger in HubSpot.
We got another question from Sam here. Generate automatic Word docs per event, as in drop a template into the folders automatically when the event is created. So you can definitely move files into there. And in terms of dynamic file generation, they would need to be on eAdvanced, right, Dan?
Yeah, there's a couple ways to do this. But yeah, if they wanted, there's a few ways to do this. But yes, the answer is yes. You can create those files automatically.
Yeah, the answer is yes. I mean, let's talk to the nerd that just kind of halfway knows. The way I think you could do it is you could theoretically create a box sign without a signature and make it like with a template, because then that template's going to use dynamic variables that's going to pull from that event. So it's almost like you can make it, and it may or may not need to be signed, but at least it's there. And you would be able to have it this dynamic document with variables from the event or from stuff, right? So you could do it that way. I think there's a couple. Yeah, it seems like there's the puzzle pieces there to do what you would want to create a template, to create a dynamic template. So you have the template, then you have the dynamic template, which is the stuff filled out from the object and the associated objects. Then we got version control in Box. I'll be quiet.
I'll let Dan handle this one.
It's just like you expect. Every time you make a change to a file, it's going to save as a new version. All the old versions are there. So if you make a mistake or you change the logo, you can always go back. And we talked about objects. Every file and every version has its own object. So it's easy to find. Like it's like /version. It's pretty nice. So what that means is you will not lose an old file. And if you're like, oh my gosh, the one that actually worked, the video that worked was like 3 days ago, you can just revert back to it, or you can download that old version. And the admin can set how many versions. So when you're in HubSpot and you're looking at that file, you're always going to see the most up-to-date version, unless you want to see an older one, and just like time machine on your computer, real easy to get back.
Time machine. Yeah. I saw Allie, shout out to Allie in the chat. Yeah. When this is one of those things, right, where you don't need AI, you just need software, which is one and the same. But in reality, you have all the things you need. Nothing has to think for you. You have all the data. It doesn't have to think. It just needs to be able to be a, what do they call them? Sandwich artistes. I don't think if anybody goes to Subway anymore. But you just got to put the pieces together, right?
Did you see Happy Gilmore too?
No, I haven't.
It'll make you want to go to Subway, Dax.
I knew they had something up their sleeve. They're working on a marketing campaign that waited like 60 years to do that. Is it possible to automate folder creation for each registered speaker sponsor based upon form submissions or workflows? Absolutely. That's even a better way. So what I wanted to do, time permitting, was to create a form, because a lot of people have either event requests or speaker requests. So sometimes there's like a call for speakers and you fill out a form and like, I want to speak about this. What's my topic? Like an inbound where I can submit if I would be spoken, if I get to speak or not. And I either get mostly denied or I get approved. And if they're approved, right, either a status or a pipeline stage, you'll be able to then run that workflow to create that box folder for that particular speaker with their name. And then any file request you send to them gets put right inside that folder. So again, it's like pretty magical the way you can do that.
This is, I think, Dax, we were talking about the planning events. So for those who are event professionals, like I have deep respect for you. We found it was the 5th most stressful career. It was like right up there with like police officer and trauma surgeon. So like, which totally checks out. I was like, that actually makes sense to me. So yeah, maybe not as visible, but like we definitely recognize this is very hard work.
Yeah, I feel like when you're working the front door, it's like bullet time in Matrix or something. You're just like, oh my God. It feels like every second feels like hours. They're waiting. The line is growing. I can't refresh fast enough. It's been a second. Why does it take so long? Yeah, there is a lot of stress. I don't know if it's akin to brain surgery, but seemingly so. I mean, public speaking, the number one fear. Silly of that. Guess when you're speaking in public at an event. So it's just events are stressful. That's what it comes down to. We got one time for one more. How does a box connector handle access control and file permissions inside of HubSpot?
So that is, as mentioned before, that's all the file permission and everything is all managed through Box. So you essentially have a Box user and set permissions. I don't know, Dan, if you want to go into more granular detail on the permissioning levels, but you can get extremely enterprise level control in terms of reading, viewing, access, no access, and also like security history and all that. Dan, if you want to expand maybe.
Yeah, it's the level of control is precise down to an individual file, an individual version, individual person, and that access control is going to work whether or not you're accessing that internally, externally from within HubSpot. And that's where, it's going to depend on your use case and how we set it up, because no matter how secure the Box platform is and every certification we have, the secure coding we've built to integrate all the things you've seen today, a lot of it's going to come down to helping just talk through your workflows, your events, your processes, and make sure we're building very secure design, but also really good design into that process for you. So it's delightful to be secure, not just very secure.
And I really like the way that this is, again, really HubSpot native. So when you click on a particular file and you hit manage collaborators, obviously you can share within. When you manage those collaborators, you have you can add owners, you can add different role permissions that they could have when you share. There's some external collaborators with an email, which means they would get an email for that. It's just all kind of built in that file management so that certain people and certain things can see. And now also, shout out to, what's up, Heidi? Now also, because of having dynamic middle panel cards, you can make it so that, I know this is probably important for you guys at Heidi, you can use teams to be dynamic when you customize particular cards. So now that they have, I don't know if I'm in the beta, if it was a beta, but you can make it so that this is conditionally shown. So that if you have a team that's working on the event, but you don't want them to have see the files or be able to manage that, not only do they have to be, authorized as a Box connector user, but you could set conditional logic so that this thing doesn't even show up for certain people. So you have another layer of kind of protections when you're dealing with file management and the access therein. And we're getting some love from folks in the audience. So again, our time is done. We could probably go on for a long time here, but again, let me kick it back to pulling it in. Let me share my screen real quick. What are we here for? Why are we talking about this for an hour? And why can we go on for days about this? Native tools, less mess, more momentum, get better ROI, be more efficient, have everything in one place, stop sifting through emails. Email is not a storage center. I know it's a storage center for most of us. It is not a place to store files. When you're automated, save time, scale easily, create your event, your folders are built out. You're going to be able to get everything that you need. You're going to automatically send requests. You're automatically be able to send Box sign in one system, in one place, everything in sync. Drop us a line. Pretty easy to find us. We're on the internet. We're at our houses though. But anything else you got? Last minute requests, concerns, Dan, comments?
Oh, what I got at is you have a great partner in Chris Eustace who works with Box, HubSpot, Hapily, and knows our technologies, our customers, our business processes and problems inside and out. uses these things himself. And for those of you, if you're happily curious, HubSpot Box curious, reach out to Chris and the team. We'd love to chat. And yeah, this has been super exciting. Also, Dax, I'm very jealous of the games you have on your shelf. You know, my children are too small. I've had to take mine off, but I quite like yours.
Oh, jealousy is accepted. You know,
yeah, I had some of those growing up, man. It's great. This was awesome. Thank you. And it was great to see all of our friends in the chat here. This is great.
Indeed. Chris, any comments for the crew?
No, just appreciate everybody, you know, coming to join. More than happy to help out, you know, kind of anything HubSpot, Box, happily sort of related. Would love to chat. And yeah, thank you again for having us, Dax. Really appreciate it.
It's a big deal, guys. So we're here. Catch the recording. For all those listening to the recording, this was recorded. Appreciate y'all. We're still here.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care, everybody.
All right, bye.